Hi, everybody. Thank you for coming to My Other's Keeper. Today we have Dawn Gloves, otherwise known as Pamela,
Or
on
morning or
today.
afternoon.
Or who?
Or afternoon. I said
Oh,
evening,
yeah.
morning.
Good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are. We're happy to see you. If you're on the replay crew, nice to see you too. Um, I'm going to actually start by saying hi, Sandy Wandy. Thank you for coming. I really appreciate seeing
Hi,
you in the chat.
Sandy.
Yeah. Oh, wow. We've got a few people so far. Okay, excellent.
Oh,
So,
why is it so
oh,
low?
hi, Brian. Nice to see you.
Hello, Brian.
And Mary.
Good to see you.
Oh,
I'm trying to
wonderful.
pull up the live on my end so I can see the chat that way.
Yes.
And I
Now, I
can't.
want you to post whether or not you can hear me okay, whether or not you can hear Pamela okay. Oh, and now I'm hearing an echo.
Now you are? Okay.
Yep.
Let me grab my AirPods.
Okay. Okay. So, some of you went on a walk with me yesterday, and went on a walk, I mean, like the 30 seconds it took me to say, hi, I'm going for a walk by. Um, you got to see the sun or the sky in my local little town. So that's kind of fun. I'm going to have to go for a walk later on today. Um, After we're all done here. Hi, Crystal. Nice to see you. Um, Pamela is usually what she's called.
Yeah,
Um,
in the real
so, pardon?
in the
In the
real world.
Yes, in the real world. Otherwise, you can call her Dawn Gloves, as
Yeah.
in you put them on. Yes. So today would be day 2 of my walking. I'm hoping to actually make it a habit. We'll see how it goes. I don't know. I'm not, I'm learning how to be better at doing positive habits. How's that sound? Okay. Yes.
Aren't we all?
Aren't we all? So,
I
Pamela,
tried
tell
today. It
me.
didn't go well. Uh,
Oh, no. What happened today?
I woke up and I thought, okay, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to list out everything that I need to do today, including self care,
Mm-hmm.
so that so that and actually give it a time, frame,
Right.
not necessarily a specific time, and because I'd seen that recommended as a method
Yes.
for staying on track and getting stuff done. And I
Mm-hmm.
wrote one thing on the on my planner, which was shower, and
Okay.
then opened Facebook, and then it's now. So
Doom scroll all day. Got it.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So um, it's with the ADHD, it's still harder than it looks.
absolutely.
So
Yep.
okay,
Yeah, it's muggy here too, Sandy. Oh, I get up in the morning, and every morning the outside of my windows are covered in water, like just dew everywhere. It's just insane. Oh, okay, Crystal's cooled down there a little bit. Well, I guess it wasn't
Crystal.
30 today, so yeah, it's cooler, but yeah, 30 here would be about 90 there.
Yeah. Hi, Mary. You snuck in and I didn't see you.
Yeah. So Mary's doing some really cool things. She's started going to Weight Watchers, and she's headed the right direction with that, which is
Yeah.
very cool. Way to go.
Mm-hmm.
And do you want what do you want me to call you today?
You can call me Pam.
Okay. So Pamela, what have you been doing for good self-care over the last few days? It doesn't have to be today, but the last few
Um,
days.
it's kind of been a struggle. Some of you
Mm-hmm.
might know that I've been kind of having a hard time emotionally for the last few weeks. I haven't done a live, I don't think, in over 2 weeks.
Oh
Um,
wow.
and it usually makes me feel better. So I'm like kind of looking at myself and saying, well, now why would you cut off one of the things that actually helps?
Because when
But
you're not
one,
feeling well, you isolate. That's the way
yeah,
it
you
goes, isn't it?
isolate and you're down about everything, including did I put my hair on straight? Um, my skin is
Yep.
bad, and you pick at yourself. I'm like, why would anybody want to see this? So
Right.
it went
Well, for the
the
record, you look
rational part of my
amazing.
brain. Thank you. And my brain, part of my brain does know that that's nonsense,
Right.
but
Yeah. Yeah, Mary's right. You
the
go back
emotional
to
part,
old habits.
yeah,
And Brian's
exactly.
sending some good vibes.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Brian.
Yeah. Yeah. He quit putting out some videos there for a while. It
Mhm.
does happen.
Yeah.
Um, in August, I'm going to, on a day that I'm supposed to be with Kristen Melinda, I have agreed to go to a women's halfway house. Um, it's their transition house from prison to the real
Mhm.
world, and
Yeah.
talk about mental health. So I'm going to have to do something different for that night, but I'm sure we'll figure something out.
Yeah.
Maybe Kristen and I could prepare something or whatever.
Pre-record something. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
And I don't have anybody else. Oh, sorry. For August, this is what my August looks like. It's normally much fuller than that.
Mhm.
So I need some people to talk to in August.
Yeah.
I've got Matrix Rabbit on Thursday. Yay! We're going to be talking about his art. Very excited about that. He has sent me some pictures. And like I said, Kristen is on the 8th, but we're going to have to find a different way around that one. So maybe we'll just do it a different time of day. That would work as well if she is able to do that. So, yeah, we can do that.
Yeah.
And yeah, Crystal's right. Sorry.
I was going to say the same thing. I agree. It is very easy for it to just snowball into,
Yep. Yep.
for bad
And
day
yeah, Mary
one.
said she would come in and talk about her weight loss journey, which would be fantastic.
Mhm.
Um,
That's good.
we'll have to message each other here and get together on that one. Um, yeah, so it's going to be a good month.
Yeah.
Yes, even though I think it's going to be quite low key in this house.
Mhm.
So,
Not
yeah.
for this one, but
No.
we had a
Has
couple
school
of low key
started?
months. Yes, she's actually in an online charter school now, and
Oh,
she started
okay.
on the 19th, so she's a week in, and she's doing actually very well. I think it's
Wow.
self-paced,
You
and
guys
I think
start
that's what she
school in
needed.
July?
Not usually. Usually,
Okay.
the regular school district starts at the beginning of August, so they would be starting next week. But this particular program I have her in, it's credit recovery because she's behind in a lot of credits.
Mm,
So it gives her a chance to catch up because
good.
she's in her senior year, but she still has freshman, maybe sophomore credits. So just
Okay.
because of
She had a
everything
few
she
rough
needs to,
years.
yeah, and we'll talk
Yeah.
about that.
We're going to get there today. Yes, we
Yeah.
are.
So
Absolutely.
um,
Yeah. So,
yeah.
did you want to get started on that?
Can you tell me where we left off? I think I
We
pretty
left
much.
off, you were just about to start nursing school.
Okay. Yeah.
You were working in the courthouse. You didn't
Mm-hmm.
quite get to the whole starting nursing school that day. I was
Okay.
waiting.
Yeah. Did I talk about running down the hallway and saying I'm leaving?
I don't think
You'd
so. But
remember
even if
that.
you did, let's repeat
Yeah.
that because it's a fun story.
Okay. Yeah. So I had already requested to go part time because I found out I was admitted to the part time LVN program, which would take me a year and a half. And so it just meant that I would do some of the classes with the full time students and then I would do the rest the following year. And
Mm-hmm.
so I wasn't happy about that, but I was glad to get into the program, and the assistant at the School of Nursing had said, just be mindful that sometimes some students just don't even show up for the first day and they get dropped automatically, and new spots might open up. I said, oh, okay. Work was understanding. I went part-time at work, so that because with the part-time program, I would, figure I'll still work at the courts while I take classes.
Pay off some student debt and all that stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, I didn't have any, thank you to the governor's board.
Oh, nice.
Of public colleges. Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, so I was going to do that, but I still had bills I needed to pay. So, I said, yeah, okay. And I'm in my head, I'm just thinking, she tells that probably to everybody, whatever. And so I went on about my day. Well, the day school starts, I was prepared to go in for, I think I signed up to take medical terminology, just as an elective, sort of, and to, refamiliarize and get to know more medical terms to make things easier. And so I've got my books for that, ready to go to lecture after work. So I've got my stuff with me.
That was good.
Yeah, I don't leave stuff in the car, because everybody in my family that's left stuff in their car has had their car broken into and it gets stolen. So I just don't do that. Regardless, it doesn't matter what it is or where I am, it stays with me. So had my rolling, I think it was a Swiss case that had my laptop and my books in it.
Oh, yeah.
And that's stashed under my desk during the workday. And my cell phone rings. When I say cell phone, I mean my Palm Trio. Remember the Palms with the keyboard on the front and the little screen? I used to actually write papers, essays, and stuff on there.
Oh, my word.
Yeah.
You had to have better eyes than what I've got, that's for sure.
Well, I mean, this is 17 years ago. I did have better eyes then. I couldn't do that now.
Yeah.
But like right now, I'm trying to read email like this. So
playing trombone with your
exactly. Yeah. So we're not supposed to use our phones except on our breaks.
Right.
But I see it says School of Nursing, and I'm like, why would they be calling me today?
I'm not rejecting that one.
I duck under my desk. I made myself
under
my desk. And I answer, and I'm whispering. And like, hello, I'm at work. Is this important? She said, well, I just wanted to let you know that 3 students did not show up today. They're on their lunch break right now. And we wanted to ask if you're interested in taking a full-time slot, just like she had said before. So she must have known where my position was on the list, but she couldn't tell me. And I'm just like, I never have luck like that, but I'm going to tell you. I had to struggle to do pretty much everything that I did before nursing school until I decided I wanted to go to nursing school, and every door that I walked up just opened. Every single one. So I should have believed her, but at this point I hadn't seen the pattern yet.
But still, yeah. Oh, that is so beautiful. I love it.
The nursing programs at my school are very competitive, and for me to get into the LVN program, even just part-time on my first attempt,
right,
was unheard of. And I'm talking to other students and I'm like, yeah, no, this was my 3rd application. I finally got in. And
yeah.
Oh, okay. And so
yeah,
it took me almost through the whole program before I started to see. Every time I walked up to a door, it opened because it was my door. And
Oh,
sometimes an obstacle would get dropped in my path, and that there was one obstacle I didn't even know about it that got cleared by somebody else.
oh, what was that?
Well, the assistant dean of the School of Nursing, she was the one that oversaw the LVN program, and
Okay.
she did not like me
Oh no.
because at the time I was in my 30s and I still looked like I was in my 20s. Um, Everybody would see me and think, oh, she's so cute and sweet and nice. But to cross me and then I flip on you really hard.
And it doesn't
Hard
matter
and
how old
fast.
you are for that.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
come on now. Let's be real.
And so she was old school, one of these that thinks that the best way to train a nurse is to bully her, see if she really wants this. And I'm not about that. I've never liked bullies. I've never put up with bullies my entire
No.
life. So one day I was living in San Bernardino with family when I got
Hmm.
into the program, and
Hmm.
I had a flat tire. It was raining. Went out, changed the tire myself, and arrived at school about 10 minutes late.
Oh no.
I'm trying to remember how I got in because normally the door would be locked. I don't know
That
if somebody came out and I just slipped in. I don't know. But I
angels,
got
could have
in.
been. Yeah.
Yeah. And so the only seat left was like right in the middle.
Right in the
And so,
front.
yeah. Well, I was front and center, but it was like, halfway from the instructor and halfway from, it's like right in the middle. And so I make my way to my seat, and everybody's just looking. They're looking at me, and they're looking at the instructor, like, "Oh boy, this isn't going to be good." So
This
I
could
take
be
my
bad.
seat. Yeah,
Yeah.
and as I'm sitting down, she turns to me and says, "You're late," just like that. That tone and everything, emphasis, all of that. And so, me being me, thinking you could have taken me aside and talked
Yeah.
to me about that, but you
Yeah.
chose this. So now this is going to happen. I said, well, I'm
Right.
here now. And I sat down, and everybody just, I mean, they inhaled so hard, they like almost sucked all
You
the
could feel
air,
the, yeah,
created,
oxygen
created a
leaving.
vacuum.
Yeah.
And after, when we were on our break, several people came up and said, I can't believe you said that. And I'm like, what am I supposed to do? I'm not going to sit here and
Yeah.
cry in the middle of class. And I am here. Better late than never. And I
Yeah.
mean, I think she was just so stunned, and the other instructors, I think, were so sick of her BS because
Yeah.
I guess meetings were like that too. Um,
Yeah.
Even they were
People who are
just kind of like
bullies in one area are frequently
"Mm,
bullies other places
everywhere."
as well. Yeah.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
And this instructor, she's retired now, but she lives in my area. I never saw
Oh.
her there, but we have a Ralph's supermarket, right down the street. And
Okay.
Kim had told me twice, "Oh, I ran into Dr. So and so again at Ralph's." She was right behind me in line, and I'm like, "Ah, that's nice." She didn't like her
Remind
either.
us who Kim is.
Kim is the kiddo's mom
Okay.
that
So
passed away.
it's a Kim
And,
was in this case. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
And she
and
was your
we'll
best
talk more on
friend
that later.
from
Yeah.
school. Is that right? Right. Okay.
Hmm. So I guess I can move on to that part because, that first day I come in, everybody's back from lunch, and I make my way to the only seat left was down in the front.
Yeah.
And as I'm coming down, because it was like theater style, come down the steps down to the front row to sit down, and behind the seat I'm about to take is this beautiful, blonde-eyed, or blue-eyed, blonde hair, huge, beautiful smile. Those eyes just sparkled. And she looked like she was about 12 months pregnant. She is
Yeah,
in the seat behind me, and she's just
I
beaming
remember
with this
those
huge
days.
smile. And I'm just like, why is this girl smiling at me? And but I take my seat, and I did not speak until we got our clinical assignments. Um, and so the following week is when we had our first clinical. So I got there early. The instructor was late, but we could never be late.
Well, yeah.
And we were at Arrowhead Regional in Fontana, California, not too
Mm-hmm.
far. And in she comes because it's a county hospital. They were one of the first in the area that I saw that had to get metal detectors just because of
Oh,
things that had
the just
happened.
in cases, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. So she comes through the metal detector, and she's just, she's got her clipboard. We all carried clipboards for our notes and papers and stuff for clinical. And she comes, and it was like the slowest waddle I had ever seen. It felt like she was a quarter of a mile away. I'm sitting on the bench in the lobby, and I'm like, is she ever going to get here? Does she need help? But she was just literally, because that baby, oh my goodness. And so she makes it over, and she's like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad we're in the same clinical group. Hi, I'm Kim. I'm like, hi, I'm Pam. And she was like, I was so excited for you when you got in to the program that day. I was just like, can you imagine that? And she was just so exuberant. I'm going to cry a lot on this one.
That's okay. Do you have tissues?
And so full of life. Um, yeah.
I have one you can use.
Thank you.
No? Okay.
And just full of life, and I just instantly connected with her. And her mom was one of our lab instructors, and uh, and at that time she was pregnant with the kiddo, and she was due any day, but she had gone through the part-time program and was determined to finish, pregnancy or not.
Yeah.
Pregnancy was a surprise. And
Yeah.
she was very determined, but it was hard for her. And I found out later that substance use was part of the problem.
Was it part of the problem during her pregnancy as well?
Yeah. Let's see. I didn't know this until much later.
Mm.
And there was things that I should have picked up on it that I just didn't, and I think it's because I didn't want to see that.
Yeah.
But for the next 2 weeks at the beginning of the program, I would talk to the baby, see Kim, I'd give her a big hug, we'd chat, we studied together, and I was talking to the baby all along. It's like, hi, I'm your new Auntie Pam. I can't wait to meet you. And I'm going to tell you, I think that actually does make a difference. I think they hear you, they get used to your voice, and
Mm-hmm.
they know you a little bit better already when they do meet you.
Yeah. I believe
Because
that.
she ran around telling everybody when she was a kid, that's my aunt, that's my aunt. And they're looking at her mom, blonde hair, blue eyes, and they're looking at me, dark hair.
One of you's
Like,
adopted.
yeah. And that's when she's like, oh, we don't have the same dad, which is true.
Mm. That very true. Yes.
Yeah. So the things seem to be going well. And then 2 weeks in, I get into the classroom for lecture. It was a Wednesday. Yeah, it was a Wednesday. And all of the instructors are standing up at the front. One of them was Mrs. Glass. Kim's mom was not there.
Mm.
I'm looking around. Kim is not there. I take my
Oh.
seat, and I notice like two of the instructors are staring at me and then trying to look away, like, don't. And I'm already freaking out. I'm like, I don't like the energy in this room right now. And so the head instructor, we'll just call her the Supreme. The Supreme gets up.
The queen bee. Yeah.
Yeah. The Supreme gets up and she says, well, we have some news. Kimberly went into labor last night and she's at the hospital. But she and the baby are having some trouble. And I just let out a wail. And so one of the two instructors that had saved my butt several times ushered me out of the room and explained things to me separately, and said we're in touch with her mom and she's giving us updates and let you know how it goes. And then that afternoon, they did come to us after lunch and say, the baby's here, she's fine, Kim is fine, and everything went well. And then another wail. So I think they were kind of done with me that day. I'm me, and I'm gonna me as long as I'm me. So
Yeah. Makes sense.
So it turned out well. She wound up she started crashing, and then the baby started crashing.
Oh
And
no.
so they had to do an emergency C-section. So earlier, Reese on her live was talking about she had a C-section with Huxley, and she kind of teases him about it. And yeah. I'm like, she's not exaggerating. The emergency C-section is probably one of the most violent things I've ever seen in my life, because it's got to be in a hurry, no time to waste. They literally incision, move stuff out of the way, grab the baby, shove stuff back in.
Yeah, it's not like they're recoiling your intestine.
Yeah, no. And it's actually held together in place in a general way by some tissues. But I
always wondered about that.
This word that pops into my head. Yeah, there's like a membrane that kind of keeps everything tethered. But yeah, drop everything back in and close. And when I saw that in nursing school the following semester, after I walked out of watching the emergency C-section, again, crying in the hallway, because I'm like, that's what they went through.
Yeah.
And yeah. And in that moment, I decided I didn't want to be an L&D nurse. So
yeah, that'll do it.
Everybody's like, oh, it's easy. You start out with one screaming patient and then you end up with 2 or more. And I'm like, that doesn't sound like a good time to me.
No, it doesn't. That sounds like the definition of no thank you.
Yeah, exactly. So she was born Sophia Marie, and I adored her. Absolutely adored her. It was as if she was my blood niece. And she would be there when we were studying sometimes. And I just loved on her and became close enough with the family that I called Mrs. Glass Mom, except for at school. I didn't do it at school.
Yeah.
And I called Kim my sister.
Sounds like a beautiful relationship.
It was. Most of the time.
Yeah.
Most of the time.
Until it wasn't.
Yeah. After I had graduated, she disclosed to me that she did have an addiction to opioids and that she was going to a methadone clinic. I I didn't like put things in timeline order when she was telling me this, but
Hmm.
basically the addiction existed. I thought it had come about because of the pain meds that she took after the C-section.
After.
She was miserable, but actually she was on methadone
Oh,
when she was carrying. So yeah,
oh no. What does methadone do to a developing baby?
I tried to look up some journal articles and see if there was any research, and there really
Right?
isn't any.
Really?
Because why bother? But it's an
Oh, yeah,
opioid,
right.
and I can't imagine it would be any different from any other one.
Yes.
So
Hmm.
yeah. So after she was born, Kim, I think, went right back to old habits because it's what she knew.
Yeah.
Uh, she did not pass that first semester. She tried to come back a week after she had a C-section, and she just couldn't do it.
No.
She was in too much pain. Uh,
Oh, yeah.
it took her a long time to heal, and when you are addicted to an opioid, often ability to your ability to tolerate pain is compromised.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. Uh, so something that somebody you might have been able to tough out before, you can't do that anymore because you just want the pain gone. You don't want to hurt at all.
Right.
And uh, and so she went back to them as soon as she could. This was around the
Hmm.
time that the state was starting to hold doctors accountable for over prescribing things like Norco and Vicodin and such.
Oh,
So, but if you had the right doctor, you could still get your hands on
yeah.
it. And at that time, her doctor believed her pain was genuine, and she got them.
Wow.
And
To an extent, the pain might have been
mhm,
somewhat genuine. Like,
yeah,
not as severe, possibly, as she was saying, but
mhm,
your body can create pain whenever it needs to.
right, exactly. So um, I went on to graduate that summer, and
Right.
17 years ago I graduated.
Wow.
Yeah, and oh, actually 16. Yeah. Uh, she just spent time with the baby. There was one episode when I should have known what was going on,
Mm.
where it was like she had a breakdown, and her mother-in-law had called me and said, "I need you to come and help me with Kim. Something's very wrong. Uh, I'm taking care of the baby, but she's just lying on the floor, and I can't get her to get up. And she's crying, and she's screaming." And it's like, okay, I don't understand. I guess it's postpartum. What's going on? And so I get over there, and sure enough, she wasn't screaming so much anymore, but she was just rolling around on the floor crying. Um, and so I asked her, I tried to get answers from her about what was wrong, what was she feeling, and things like that. And it just didn't make sense, and we wound up hospitalizing her. And so she was at the hospital for, I think, about a week. I don't think addiction was ever addressed because she wasn't sent to a rehab. And so she started going to AA, um, because Narcanon, am I right? started going to AA, and had nothing but good things to say about it. And she, a year later, she's telling me, "Oh yeah, I used to be addicted, but I'm not anymore." And my understanding of addiction was like, "Oh, cool, that's awesome. I'm so glad you're better." Not realizing that it doesn't work that way.
Yeah. Yeah. If you've never had a background, if you've never had a, you did have a family background though of
Mhm.
people who have been addicted.
Yeah, but as
Um,
a child, it didn't make any sense to me.
no, no, it wouldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So as an adult, it still didn't make any sense because I didn't know enough. I learned a
You didn't
little
know to
bit.
connect the dots, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we kind of went on. Sophia was growing up, and in 20, I went back to school to get my RN.
Hmm.
Uh, and then in March of 2017, um, I come home from clinical, getting ready to unwind and help my roommate out that has quadriplegia. And
Right.
I get the phone call, and it's Kim, and she says, "Rudy's dead." That was her husband. And it was a reflex. I kind of went, "What?" It was like a half laugh because my brain is just
Well,
like,
yeah.
I think I know what I heard. I just am not going to
It
process
wasn't
it right now
computing.
because it doesn't make any sense.
That's
And
right.
he had taken Sophia to school and went back home. And he was just going to try to sleep in a little bit with Kim. Overslept, realized that he'd overslept and decided to take his motorcycle instead of his car. He wore a helmet, but he didn't wear like leathers or any other protective gear. Uh, the way it's described as he was right in front of his job and he's trying to turn into the parking lot, and a box truck pulls in front of him. He just like slamming into a wall.
Absolutely. Misha's got some ones going for you. For those who don't know, ones are loves, hugs, prayers, cares, whatever you want to send, blessings to our, oh my goodness. Oh,
So
Pamela.
it was just absolutely devastating. So Brad's daytime caregiver was still there, and I said I have to go.
Yeah.
And Brad even knew Rudy. They had hung out sometimes, and uh, yeah, it was just devastating. But I got right back in my car and drove to the house, and I mean, I didn't even, I had no idea what to say or what to do. Other family was there, and I was grateful for that because they seemed to know what to do. Nobody knows what to say.
Mhm.
Uh, but she was devastated.
Oh, absolutely. I cannot imagine. I cannot imagine.
I don't think she. Uh, when we have grief, we're that's it's with us forever. Sort of
Absolutely.
like addiction. But grief means that we loved somebody.
That's right.
So in a way, after I kind of learned that and started framing it that way in my brain, I was just like, why would I ever want the grief to go away? Because it's the last part of the love that I can give that person now that they're gone. Um, I don't think she ever came to terms with that. Um, so that fall, I had graduated from the RN program, and needed to move out of Brad's house because his girlfriend had moved in, and it had just become the stuff of nightmares. She's gone to an overdose, and so I was talking to Kim. She didn't want to be in her house anymore because of all the memories, and it just hurt to be there. And
For sure.
her mom needed to move because she couldn't handle the mortgage anymore where she was. And I suggested, why don't we get a place together? And uh, and so we did. I found this house that we're in now, and it doesn't have a grand piano. It just has an electric.
This has a regular piano.
Yeah.
The usual upright.
But I like this room.
It's a nice room.
It's much cleaner than the real room.
You need to see what's going on over, actually, if we're going to point over there. So, yeah.
Yeah. So I find this house, and we moved in the fall of that same year, 2017. And by December, I knew there was something seriously wrong. She would verbally attack her mom, and I mean, just go at her. Shirley could do something minor, and if Kim got upset about it, it was 0 to 60.
Was Shirley living with you at the time?
Yeah, that was
okay.
Mom. So we're all living in the house together. In fact, Shirley's mom was here too. There were 4 generations of women from the same family and me.
That's kind of cool.
It was. And yeah, she was just, the things that she said, I was stunned. I was just like, this can't be the same person that I met 9 years ago. What's happening right now? And so I'm trying to process that. Hang on just a second.
You have a very interesting avatar photo up.
Yeah, I got stories about that too.
Okay.
That was
later.
The face
Let's hope it's a happier story.
Yeah, that's the face I made when I realized I had been in a cult. So,
oh, I can understand that face. Yeah.
So, New Year's Eve, that very first New Year's Eve, she had gotten a hold of Percocet and had taken 6 of them. Now, in addition to the opiate, that particular medication also includes each tablet is about a cup's worth of coffee worth of caffeine.
Oh, wow. Okay. So heart just going.
Yeah, heart is just going. She's drowsy, but she's also very awake. I don't even know how to explain it to you, but she was just behaving completely odd. And we had to send, we were going to do, Martinelli's and the countdown and everything. And we had to send Sophia to her room because we had to figure that out. And we wound up sending her to the emergency room. She had, no, wait, did we that time? There was a lot of enabling. I don't think we sent her that time. There was no respiratory distress. We're just monitoring her signs and symptoms because her mom didn't want to. She was like, she'll lose her license.
That's the worst thing she loses.
Yeah. So there were always excuses for why she couldn't get sent to the hospital, why she couldn't do this, why she couldn't do that. I eventually got sick of it, and I just started calling. Yeah, she admitted to us once we had Sophia out of the room. She admitted to us that she had taken 6 Percocet. It's the reason why it has caffeine in it. It's sort of like the pumped up version of Excedrin. So it's acetaminophen.
Okay.
I think another ingredient. Acetaminophen. The I can't remember which.
Caffeine and codeine?
Yeah, it's not codeine. It's another opiate. Stronger. It's like similar. It's like if you put caffeine in a Vicodin.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, and that's my introduction and boot camp to living with someone with addiction was that night.
Wow.
Because what she would do, she would always say, "There's nothing wrong with me. I'm fine." Some of the arguments they would have. She would. Her mother had the same issue, but when she realized that her license was in jeopardy, she got straight with it because that she couldn't lose it.
No.
And so, but she stopped going to meetings after she realized, like, I'm never going to touch that again. And then she doesn't. She was having dental procedures a couple of years ago, and the pain med and the 1 tablet of Valium that they were given before one procedure, she gave them to me, and I locked them in a safe.
Good.
And then I gave them to her before we drove her to the dentist, because she knows what she can and can't handle.
That's right.
And she just refuses to expose herself.
Yeah, Tommy's the same way, right?
Yeah. And that has been working for her. She still talks favorably about the meetings.
Good.
But she doesn't feel she needs to attend, and that's okay. Meanwhile, Kim was attending and talking the talk and still using. But she would throw this in her face all of the time. You don't even go to meetings anymore. I go to my meetings. I'm working my program. She could never get past step 3.
Right.
So
what is step 3?
I don't even remember anymore. After listening to Tommy and realizing and doing my own research and realizing it's actually not as effective as they let out to be.
Okay.
I stopped kind of paying attention. And they were all about these 12s. 12 steps, 12 traditions, 12 principles. I don't know if I'm ever going to find it, so I'm going to just give up on it. There we go.
Decision to turn our will and lives over to God as we know and understand Him.
Yeah, she was stuck there.
You can never see my phone. Yeah, okay.
She was stuck there. And she would, every once in a while, she was like, say something like, I want to start taking Sophia to church, but never did.
Right.
She also, her sponsor, she was absolutely amazing. She came to the memorial service. She would send her devotional passages daily.
Right.
And they would talk daily.
Wonderful.
But Kim wasn't working the program.
No. She was putting on a face.
Somebody to talk to. Yeah, she was putting on a face.
Yeah.
And you can't do that and expect to recover. So it was just up and down, pretty much until she was gone. we would have really, really good days and really, really bad days. And as because I'm now part of the household, I'm remembering things that she said about Rudy, things Rudy said about her, and he didn't really talk bad about her, but he would get really frustrated with her.
Yeah.
And how she interacted with her mom and her aunts.
Yeah.
And I'm looking around and I'm just like, that smile on day one was a false advertisement. What is really going on here? And I would get so angry with her, but didn't want to get into shouting matches and yelling. And so that's kind of when I made a promise to myself that when I get so upset I feel like yelling, I have to call a timeout.
Yeah.
And she hated that because she wanted to yell it out and throw things, and I wouldn't do it.
Some people, that's how they work through things, is through that yelling.
Mm-hmm.
I get very quiet, and if I've been quiet and then I explode, then I'm like
Oh,
a bomb.
everyone's in danger.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. And yeah, there was one week where she said something so egregious. She basically threatened Shirley, saying, "Well, Finn and I are just gonna have to." I'm gonna slip up with names. Sophia and I are just gonna have to move out and get our own place. It'll probably just be a studio, and we're gonna have to share a bed, but we'll do it. And she's yelling this from upstairs to the downstairs, and I'm just standing there like, okay, I really hope that Sophia can't hear any of this.
Yeah.
That wound up not mattering because she went straight to Sophia's room, swung the door open, and said, "We're leaving in the morning. We have to go. I can't live here anymore." And now Sophia's sister.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I didn't talk to her for 4 days.
Wow.
And she finally came to me and apologized to me. And I said, "I don't need you to apologize to me. I need you to apologize to your girl because she didn't deserve that." I don't know if she ever did, but she knew where I stood.
Yeah.
So she, at a point, well, I learned after she was gone, had been verbally abusive and emotionally abusive uh, with Sophia pretty much most of her life. And she was, at this point, about 12 or 13. And that does something to a kid.
Oh, does it ever?
And so in middle school, she started using substances because they were there. They're doing it in middle school now. They're doing it in the 5th grade now.
That's so scary.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I mean, she didn't even like it when her dad smoked. So never in my wildest dreams would I thought she would have even tried it. But she did.
And being born a child of an addict,
mm-hmm.
possibly with being addicted as well,
mm-hmm. Yeah.
it would make more sense that she does it than not.
Right. And all she really did was cannabis and alcohol.
Okay.
But I think it was also to a degree romanticized and dramatized. She told one counselor, "Oh no, I have a big drug problem," and the counselor asked her what to use, and she says, "Marijuana and alcohol," and the counselor's just kind of like, yeah. So the counselor had been on crack. So she's like, "No, those aren't we really even consider hard." Yeah, no. You can get it dependent and addicted, definitely.
Absolutely. Yep.
You weren't doing heroin, you know. Um,
Yeah.
but anyway, I digress there. So where was I? Coming up to the pandemic.
Yes.
Early in the pandemic, Sophia is doing online schooling. I
Hmm.
was actually still doing well at that time.
Good.
We didn't know about the substance use yet, and she was able
How
to hide
old would she have
very
been?
well.
You said 12 or 13?
Mm-hmm,
Okay.
yeah. So yeah, I learned all kinds of stuff that I wish I never had to know. Like
Oh, for sure.
California, they won't chase you if you steal alcohol and the alarm goes off and you run out of the store. They won't chase you.
Not
And the
worth your
kids know
life,
that.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the kids know this, and so they just go in the store, put a bottle in their backpack, and go
Hmm.
about their day. And the store can't or won't do anything about it. Well,
Right.
they can't because of California law.
Right.
So that had been going on, and we didn't even know. Uh, we found out. So towards the end of her 8th year, she
Hmm.
came to me and told me that she didn't always feel like a girl. She said she might feel more non-binary. And so she had already been telling her friends that, floating it around with them. And so they had taken to calling her Stephen because she said at the time she felt more masculine.
Okay.
And but she didn't. She just stuck with it because that's the name her friends gave her. But
Right.
she just didn't say. She didn't think it felt right.
Right.
And so later on, as the school year was coming to a close, she had asked me. Oh, by the way, she tells me this, and I had always wondered how would I react if I had a child that came to me and told me that they were LGBTQ,
Hmm.
right? A plus. And
All the alphabet. Yeah.
yeah, if they came to me and told me, how would I actually react? Because it's one thing to say that you're an ally and
Yeah.
supportive and all of these things. It's a completely different thing when somebody you care about comes to you and trusts you.
Yeah.
And that rolled through my head for about a second and a half. And I just said, okay.
Okay.
She's like, you're not upset? I'm like, you are the same kiddo to me that you were
That's right.
a moment before you told me that.
Yep. 5 minutes
You're
ago.
the exact
Yep.
same kid. And if this helps you feel more comfortable in your body, I will support you. She didn't get a similar talk from me.
Whoops.
So, yeah. And I was just shocked because she couldn't do like me. She could say she was an ally as long as it was happening in somebody else's house.
Yeah.
Um, so it was kind of this. She had a pregnancy planner, and she showed that to me when we were in nursing school. And when she showed it to me, I laughed. It was just like, this is all well and good, but it's still not up to you. That baby and some hormones are going to tell you what's going to happen.
That's right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
boy, did I call that
Yeah.
one. So, she had planned that it was going to be this big, beautiful thing, and who was going to be in the room with her, and all of this stuff. Yeah. And I would remind her, I said, we can plan for some things, but some things we have to roll with it
That's
as it
right.
comes.
Yeah.
And she wanted so bad for Sophia to be this pretty, dress wearing, dainty, girly girl. Yeah, exactly. And that just wasn't her.
Yeah.
And so Kim was always trying to hold her up to expectations that Sophia could meet. And
Unfortunately, there's a lot of parents out there who do.
yeah,
It's almost more common than not that that happens.
yeah, and that just saddens me.
It
I
is
made a
very
lot of my
sad.
choices because I didn't want to disappoint, and
Yes.
wound up
Yep.
just not getting any attention at all because I was the good
Right.
one. So,
I understand.
yeah, you're another middle child too, aren't you?
No, no, I'm the youngest.
Oh,
Yeah,
you're the
I grew up
youngest.
with my sister, and
Uh,
then my mom married, and I inherited three older brothers. So I was still the baby. So
okay.
yeah, no.
Uh, but yeah, so that was really, really hard. And so the following, well, later in the school year, I was talking about names. She
Hmm.
threw some names at me and asked me which one that I thought would work better. And she said Finn, and I said, I think that suits you. I like that. And so she went with Finn, and I was the one with her when she told the school that that's her preferred name. She wanted to go by they, them, and they changed everything in the system. They just needed an adult. And Kim had, because I was trying to actually help, like, co parent,
Hmm.
because it was, Kim was having a hard time.
Oh, for sure.
And so, I was actually listed as another guardian on
Right.
the
Right.
school record.
Yeah.
So I could pick her up from school. I could, I was part of the program. So I was there when she changed her name with the school, and um, Kim didn't like that either. Um, that fall, she started in person high school because the lockdown had been lifted. This is in 2020. Is that right?
2022, 2 years ago.
No, it was 3 years ago. I think it was, yeah, fall of 2021. Um,
Oh,
yeah, they lifted. Everybody had to wear. Oh, they wore masks. They all
right.
had to have their own designated water bottle. It had to be
And hand
30
sanitizer and
and hand sanitizer. They had to clean their desks before and after class and all of
yeah.
that. So, since she never came home with COVID from school,
Oh,
uh,
that's good.
but something went horrible on social media and school. One of somebody that she thought was a friend. I thought that this girl was pretty cool. She had come to the house, and she and I talked about my record player and my vinyls. And she's like, "Wow, that's really cool." And I was just like, you can come over anytime. Not anymore. Um, she accused now Finn of doing something that she did not do and posted it on Instagram. So Finn had actually gone to the assistant principal. That man doesn't like me, and I'm cool with it because I think he's ineffective and a bit of a putz. Um,
All right. As long as you're on Finn's side, that's all good.
yeah, um, yeah, I have a couple of stories where he won't even make eye contact with me anymore.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because he thinks he literally tried to blow smoke up my butt about something very serious, and I wasn't having it. So, uh, she was getting bullied. She said, I literally lost all of my friends in 5 minutes.
Hmm.
And said, the only people that still talk to me are this person and this person. And they did. They stuck by her side because they just knew that wasn't her. Um,
Hmm.
but it was out there, and if it's on, even some adults think if it's on the internet, it must be true.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so she had fallen into a depression. She had dealt with depression before and um, had been on antidepressants. She was on Prozac. It was a low dose. But the depression got worse and we didn't see it because she masked it pretty well.
Yeah.
And one day when all three of us, Kim, Shirley, and I, were all at work, she sent me pictures of her room. She said, I cleaned my room. I even cleaned the guinea pig cage. I still have those pictures. And she sent them to me. I'm like, good job, kiddo.
Mm-hmm.
And um, and then I told her, I have to see one more patient. I'll be home at such and such time. And she just said, okay. And I get home. Uh, Shirley and Kim are downstairs watching a TV show. And I say hi to them. I head upstairs. Because after I've been with patients, even before COVID, the first thing I want to do is take a shower. And so I head up to the shower. As I'm passing the master bedroom, I see Sophia asleep at the foot of her mom's bed. And she looked like she was asleep. I went and started my shower, and I think I was rinsing out shampoo when the bathroom door flings open and everybody's screaming. She was not sleeping. She was slipping into a coma. If there are any of the nurses here, her Glasgow coma scale was probably about 5. This means that she's not even safe to protect her own airway at this point. The highest is 8, and she needed an intervention fast.
Oh, wow.
911. There was additional drama there when the paramedics came for the ambulance, and there's a video from around the corner of the fire department that I hope I never run into him in the grocery store.
Yeah.
Because he's saying things like, oh, she knows what she's doing. She's just faking it, because she would withdraw her arm every time they tried to get an IV.
That's
No.
a physical response to
Responding
pain.
to painful stimuli, you jackass.
I know that, and I'm not a nurse.
I just wanted him out of the house. The ambulance takes him, but he's already told them all of this crap about how she's faking it. There's nothing wrong with her. So she got no IV, no intubation, no respiratory support. I don't even know if they've had her on oxygen. And was like that in the ER even for a while. And I think then they started realizing, hey, this kid's not waking up. And they start checking things, and they're like, oh shit. Pardon my language.
I might have been a little bit more salty than that. Oh, Pamela.
And we couldn't be there because the hospitals still weren't letting family in to the ERs. Once they were admitted on a floor, you could have one family member.
Yeah.
But yeah, we couldn't even be there with her.
Hard to advocate for yourself when you can't wake up, isn't it?
Yeah, and you're a kid.
Yeah.
So she wound up intubated, transferred to the uh, pediatric ICU. I'm trying to remember what's it called. Pediatric ICU, and so we don't have one at the Kaiser's in Riverside.
Okay.
And they transfer her there, and she's on a vent. She's got drips. That was our baby.
Oh.
Uh, she was finally woke up and was extubated. That happened on a Wednesday. Saturday, early in the morning, she was extubated, and I got the call and woke him up, and we flew over there. They were letting me in too because I said you can have two parents, and Kim says, "Oh, well, she's co-parenting with me. I want her to be the second." And both of Finn's grandmothers were like, "What am I, chopped liver?" And you couldn't switch. And
Oh no.
Rudy's mom was extremely hurt about that. But after she got to know me better and understood my relationship with Finn, she, I think, has been able to let it go. And yeah, she just looks so small in that bed with all of that stuff. And I'm familiar with that. I knew the pumps, I knew the uh, ventilator. I dealt with all of that stuff during COVID, and to see her hooked up to it, killed me every time I walked in there. I was there as much as I could. I actually wound up leaving my job because I can't go around and
Priorities.
try to do this while this is happening.
No, for sure.
And so I thank you, Crystal, for the hugs.
Yeah.
I would spend the nights with her. Her mom would go and she would try, but she's like, I just can't. I have to get out of here. She was not handling it well at all. At one point, there was a big blow up because we literally were like, is she a narcissist? What's going on? Because she's starts yelling. Another very good friend that I call sister was there with us that night, and two of her cousins were there, and I think somebody asked, well, why are you here and not at the hospital? And she just started raving. And but all of it was I.
Yeah.
And so my friend said, this isn't about you. This is about Finn. And then she tried to get into it with me. At this point, I was too upset to call a timeout. And so I was trying to leave the room. She's like, oh, that's fine. Just go to your room, just like you always do. I don't even remember what I screamed at her, but she stopped talking to me. And I think I just left and went to the hospital. But yeah, she was there a total of, she was on the vent from Wednesday to Saturday morning. So it was 3 nights. And then they kept her a few more nights, waiting, placing into a treatment center. She spent a couple of weeks there. And she also was admitted after the treatment center, to a residential treatment program. And we all felt that they discharged her too early, but they did what they did. And when she came home, I had the hardest time relating to her. And I have to give myself grace for that because I'd never been through anything like this before.
No.
I'd never even known my mom to overdose. Uh, so I just didn't understand, and I was trying to wrap my brain around that. And I mean, we almost lost her. So just as I was kind of starting to get back and start to reinforce our bond again, March 6th, her mom doesn't wake up. Fortunately, that night, the three of us were supposed to go with my friend, the same friend that called her out that one night. We were all supposed to go to a play at a small playhouse in San Bernardino, and we were all looking forward to it. It was 18 and up, and so I had arranged for Finn to stay with her best friend, and so she spent the night there. Thank God. The last conversation I had with Kim, the way I remember it, she was just in a really good mood that day. Textbook. In the weeks prior, she had had her cousin come over and help her organize her closet and all of her papers. She gave away a lot of her clothes and jewelry.
Huh. You don't say.
All the signs were there, but we didn't want to see that. So that evening, she had come home. She and her mom had even had a wonderful day. They went together and got their eyelashes, had eyelash extensions put on, and came back laughing and talking. And I was just like, wow, what's gotten into those two? And I don't even remember how this came up, but she had said something about Finn, and about taking care of Finn. And I didn't pick up on it. And I said, well, I've told you before, because I'll take you to court over that child if I ever had to. So yes, I will take care of her. I promise.
We're here for you, Pamela.
She came to my room and we talked about something else, and we were laughing when she left my room and I went to bed. And the next morning around 7:30, her mom comes to my door screaming. She's dead. She's dead. I know she's dead. And as soon as I got to the door and I saw her, I didn't even have to touch her. She was gone. And just to show that when stuff hits home, even nurses, we don't know what to do either.
Oh.
So if you've ever had to call 911 and the call is like a hot mess, yeah. Because you're not just looking at a scene and saying, okay, this is what needs to be done. You're looking at your loved one. And everything you ever knew is gone.
Yep.
So, yeah, Shirley had said, what do we do? And I screamed, call 911. GD it. And then I walked out of the house. And I'm in the front yard and I'm just screaming. I don't even know what I was saying. I was just screaming. And paramedics came. Coroner came. Thank you, Crystal. Um, and she was gone. No note. But I feel like she had been telling me for weeks and I wasn't listening. We knew it was an overdose because of what we found in her room. We all have our Kaiser members. All of her prescriptions say Kaiser. I find a bottle in her room that had been filled the night before, that Friday, and it was from a different pharmacy that she never goes to. We have a Rite Aid over across from our Ralph's. It wasn't even from Rite Aid, it was from somebody else. And it was muscle relaxers. And it was
Oh,
empty.
man.
And so right there, I'm thinking, this was intentional. She did this. She meant to do that. And everything that I had seen her do and say over the last 2 weeks all just came together in a glob and said suicide. Um, some in the family agreed with me. The older ones just have to hang on to something and they believe it was an accident. But she had also bought pills off the street, which was literally something she had literally promised me a week before she would never do.
Oh, wow.
And they were Percocet. They were supposed to be Percocet. But what they found in her system was 3 different kinds of fentanyl.
So she wouldn't have needed the prescription bottle from the pharmacy.
No, but
Oh, man. And she wouldn't know that, right? So.
No, but she knows the risk because she would lecture Finn about don't buy drugs off the street because you don't know what's in them. She knew.
That's right. Yeah.
So even without the fentanyl, what she took would have still done her in because it would have shut down the part of her brain that tells her to breathe. And that's exactly what it did. So, on March 6, 2022, I became a mom of a 13-year-old, just like that. And that's why
Wow.
channel description, it starts with accidental mom because I don't know what else to call it.
Yeah.
By the end of that year, both grandmothers signed off, and her surviving grandfather signed off on me becoming legal guardian. And she was mine. She always was, in a way. In fact, something that I keep, it rolls through my mind sometimes, and it just kind of hurts my heart. Not kind of. She and I were going to Lowe's to get some stuff to make a little terrarium, and when we get out of the car, she says in the car, sometimes I have a hard time explaining to my friends at school that I have 2 moms, but you're not in a relationship.
That's right. But you're not gay. Yeah.
Like, oh, I could see how that would be hard.
Yeah.
Because she had stopped calling me Aunt Pam when we moved in the house and started calling me Pama.
Mm-hmm.
And I loved it. Um,
Yeah.
but then, yeah, after we get out of the car, she says, and sometimes I wish you were my mom. I felt like I'd been stabbed because she was trying to tell me how much pain she was in, and I didn't understand.
Yeah.
So we've had a lot to work through, because in the very beginning I made a lot of mistakes, especially when it came to the substance use issue.
Hmm.
And it was in our second, it's as close to intensive outpatient as we can get without it actually being intensive outpatient.
Okay.
But we're still working on things. I think we have done a good job of building trust. Um, we seem to be doing, well, not seem to, we are doing much better than we were 2 years ago this time. And
It's a learning curve.
definitely. And
Yeah.
I, the one thing that I always tell her is the only way that we're going to make it is if we trust each other and we communicate.
Absolutely.
That's the only thing that's going to save us both.
Yeah.
And she understands that.
Yeah.
So she's still a teenager. Don't get me
Oh.
wrong. She'll be
Yeah.
17 in September. And yeah,
Just a month
uh,
away.
she operates as if testing me is her job. You'd think she got paid for it. So,
Well,
but I love her to
yeah.
pieces. I was, I'll tell anybody who'll listen, I've loved her since before she was born. And nothing can make me stop. Nothing.
So,
So,
Pamela, do you want this to be it for today?
um, I think we can kind of call it because I literally brought you up to this morning.
Okay. Okay.
Mon, hello, you made it.
Hi, Mom.
Um, Mon was absolutely loving and sent, um, Finn now goes by Princess, identifies as female.
Okay.
I have theories about that. Um,
Okay.
but I don't know if we have time to, because we've been going an hour and a half now.
We
Um,
can do it next time.
okay. Um, yeah, I asked her last spring. I said, "So where are we with pronouns and such?" And she said, "I'm a girl." Okay. She'll still
All right.
accept they, them. Um, and I had to explain to her, I need you to be patient with me with flipping the switch in my brain.
Again. Yeah.
And I'm going to mess up
Yeah.
because now I'm, dealing with trauma brain on top of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I, but again, still the same kid. She's been through some shit. Sorry, my language.
That's
But
fine.
she's my kid. And if she just comes out and says I'm a raccoon, okay, trash panda, what do you want for dinner?
Here's a bandit mask.
I'm
I
just,
love you. Here's some garbage.
yeah, exactly.
River's
So
over there. Yeah.
do you still want to sleep in the house? I mean,
Yeah. We've got a lovely trash can just out back. I'll keep
exactly.
it clean for you.
That simplifies dinner because I hate cooking. So,
Yeah.
uh, but I will be there to love her through anything.
Mm-hmm.
And that's actually what I told her when she first came out. And I meant it.
Yeah.
Because Kim, after she had told her mom, Kim had came to me and said, "So I guess you know already," because she told me first, and which was telling, because she felt safer with me.
That's, well, yeah,
And
absolutely.
so she came to me and said, "What are we going to do?" And I said, "The same thing we do with anything else. We're going to love her through it.
Right.
She's trying to learn who she is, and she
Mm-hmm.
needs our support with that more than anything."
That's right. Yeah. Well, Pamela, thank you. Thank you for opening up. Thank you for being vulnerable. There will be people who will watch this tonight, a different night, whenever,
Mhm.
who are going to be absolutely floored by how much they are helped because of your story.
I hope so, because this was hard, and I hope I don't crash again.
I am certain of it. I am certain there will be parents out there who need to see this. There will be step parents, adoptive parents. My daughter's best high school friend, or still her best friend, calls me mom and has for many years.
Yeah.
So I get it. I haven't been through near the trauma that your family has been, but I get that love. It does not go away.
Yeah.
And it is unconditional.
Mhm.
So, yeah. All right. Well, we are going to call it a day. Pamela,
Okay.
if you could stay on for a minute, I'll
Mhm.
put together a time in August that we can meet again, okay?
Okay. Mhm.
Okay. So, thank you, everybody, for being here, for being respectful, for being uplifting,
Thank
for
you,
being
everyone,
caring.
for being supportive,
Absolutely. I
because
would
this was
expect
hard.
nothing else.
Yeah.
I would expect nothing else from this
Same
group.
here, because I love every one of you.
Yep, absolutely.
Every
Okay.
single. And people came in that I haven't even.
Yeah, Miss
No.
Sunrise Dawn's here.
Hi,
Ron is
Marissa. It's good
here.
to see you.
Yes.
And Miss Sunrise Dawn is here. I said
Yeah.
hi to Crystal, Sandy,
Mm-hmm.
Wendy. Thank you for coming to my trauma dump. Um,
Thank you for leading this trauma club in careful, measured words. That is a large part of your healing, of our ability to, because you're not panicking, we're not panicking,
yeah.
right? Which is also part of parenting.
And special thanks to EMDR. Not
Yes,
sponsored by EMDR, but it brought you this message.
that's awesome.
Yeah, because I talked about stuff that I had to reprocess, like you would believe.
Yes, yes.
Thank you, Mary.
EMDR is eye movement desensitization and reprocessing.
Mhm.
And it's a trauma treatment. It works for most people. I have a friend for whom it did not work well,
Yeah,
but more people, I know more people for whom it has worked than not. And
it
for
kept me
trauma,
alive.
absolutely. Absolutely. All righty, everybody. Have a good night.
Thank you,
And I will
everybody.
see you again on the 1st when we will talk to Matrix Rabbit about his art. And
I can't wait for that.
that's going to be so fun. Just, he sent me some pictures. They're gorgeous.
Yeah.
So, all righty. See you.
Bye, everybody.